Hello, hello, and congratulations for playing full out, for examining your life, for doing something different, maybe something a little bit scary. When you start to ask yourself the big questions, you live a life by design and intention. And it's not for the faint of heart, and it's not something that everyone does. So, right off the bat, give yourself a pat on the back. Congratulate yourself. Just really sit in that energy of how rare you are to do hard things, to do big things, and to do good things, things that really take care of the totality of who you are. So let's begin at the beginning. On the screen in front of you, you see a wheel. Now, this is used a lot in coaching for good reason. It's called the wheel of life. There's many different areas that make up your whole life. There's health, there's friends and family, a partner. If you don't have a partner, that might be like really close, good friends, personal growth, fun and leisure, home and environment, career, money, spirituality, and your overall community. And this includes like a friend group, a church or community group, like maybe a yoga class that you visit regularly, as well as the city and neighborhood and country that you live in. So let's walk through your feelings on where you are right now. Not all of these areas are going to be a priority for you, and that's okay. You want to look at what it is that you want to work on. So in order to quantify, and I'll be coming back again and again where I get you back to numbers because I want you to see actual progress. When we figure out exactly how we feel or where we are right now, we can see if what we're doing is working. And it's really as simple as seeing what's working and doing more of that, seeing what's not working and allowing ourselves to let that go. So what's your satisfaction level? And let's paint a picture of what it is that we want to call in. The more specific we get, the better. In life coaching, in spirituality, in health and wellness, we often talk in these vague terms and allow ourselves and others to get away with a lot of gray and haziness. But we want to actually feel good. So let's actually take a look at what is actually going on. In your journal, I want you to write down each one of these categories and rate where you are on a scale of 1 to 10. If one of these areas just is not an interest for you, or you're like, I'm good, it's great, write that down. You want to prioritize your top 3. Which 3 areas of life do you want to see the most growth in? Where are you the happiest right now? Where are things going really well for you? When we find we have success in one area, it bleeds out into other areas. Like if we think about our self-esteem, if we have a really bad relationship with ourselves, we carry that into absolutely everything that we do. When we feel really good in one area of life, we start to bring that into other areas of life. It's called sideways confidence. Feeling confident, happy, and confident in one area of life will allow you to take more risks, grow, and do different things in other areas of life when you maybe don't know what you're doing and don't know what the results are going to be. But when you feel that you're good in one area, you take that goodness with you, as well as how we've taken our pain with us and our anxiety with us into other areas of life. So write down each one of these in your book, write a heading, and just put a scale of where you are right now on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being things are not good, 10 being they're great, they're amazing. And when you've done that, just circle, highlight, or make a note of the top 3 things you want to see most growth in. And some of them might be surprising. A lot of my clients that have had a lot of trauma in their background have a really difficult time having fun, giving themselves permission to rest, have fun, or to stop working because they've been working so hard and haven't seen progress. So what do we do normally? We try to work harder. And that's where you might want to see fun and leisure at like more growth. Money is a common one that most of us want to see growth and movement in, and there's a very good reason for that. When we have low self-esteem, we often have money struggles. They go hand in hand because they have to do with how we value ourselves, our time, and our approach to life. So take some time and bring this into our next one-on-one session because we're going to talk about it. So these are some questions, and pause them. I send them in on what I call like my welcome email, these same questions, because when we get to the specifics, we can get specific movement. So just take some time to set the intention. What do you personally want to get out of coaching? And what does success mean to you? We often apply our parents' ideas of success or the environment that we grew up in, like the cultural norms and expectations of that environment that we grew up in, to what success means. Often it can mean, what your salary is, or are you married or not? Like, these are outside ideas of what success could mean. What does it actually mean to you? Is success just not doubting yourself all the time? Is success feeling competent? Is success actually earning something or being self-sufficient? What does it mean to you? And when you want to think about what do you personally want to get out of coaching, again, it's like, why are you here? Why in your heart did you decide to really invest in yourself in this deep and profound way? What changes do you actually want to see about our time together? Because I want to do everything in my power to help you get movement of that. And when you set that intention and when you get very specific, we absolutely and 100% can see growth in that. We can make it happen. We want to talk about what your biggest strengths are and what are your biggest challenges. How do you tend to sabotage yourself? When I have that kind of insight, and I do want to talk about that with you in our one-on-one, then I can be a mirror to you. I can hold you accountable of what patterns have you noticed in yourself in the past, so we can actually talk about them and see what they're trying. Like, is there something that needs to be healed? Is there a medical reason? Is there an emotional or psychological reason? How do you spend the majority of your time? What's your learning style? Are you a visual learner? Are you a tactile learner? What kind of tips would you give me as your coach so I can help you the most effectively in our time together? How do you relieve stress? And what do you do to look after yourself on a regular basis? And how do you enjoy yourself? And is there anything that you have given up on life? And if so, what would that be? Note, that's not always a bad thing. We need to learn how to quit things or give up on things that just really don't suit us anymore or really aren't good for us. So what have you given up on life, good or bad? Let's talk about it. And how will you know when you've reached your coaching goal? So write this sentence out. I've reached my coaching goal when. And then after looking at the wheel of life, what areas are you proud of? Like I said before, where the areas where you see the most growth, I want you to really expand on the feeling you get from how glad you are of where you are in that part of your life. And what is the most challenging area that you've had in your life? And are there any areas that are of no interest to you? And is there an area of your life, any activity, relationships, or career that you are actively avoiding or that you deeply feel is missing in your life right now? So this is kind of a fun question where we get into our imagination. If an all-powerful genie or a fairy or, say, a magical godmother appeared before you, would you know in your heart what you actually want? It's an odd question, I know. But often we have these like snap responses or knee-jerk reactions that have been programmed to us. Oh, I want $1 million. Oh, I want 5 more wishes. Whatever it is. But do you know what it is that you actually want in life? And do you know what would fulfill your deep inner needs? Or would you tell them to create a reality that you are supposed to want? So we want to create a life, create desires, and really nurture the desires that come from your heart, not your parents' expectations, not your family's expectations, not society's expectations. And this is where I want you to really start to dream again. When we have been hurt or when we have been struggling for a long time, we put all our energy into just making it through the day. So in order to counterbalance that, we want to bring in the imagination. We want to be able to make connections. We want to be able to dream. And this actually even helps our problem solving, and it's super fun. So what can you think of, if it were to happen to you, would get you absolutely excited? Where would you live if you could live absolutely anywhere in the world? And if you could have like even a second home, where would that be? And what would you drive, and what kind of a color vehicle would it be? What toys would you own? And who would you be, and how would that person, who would you be with? Like what kind of community, what kind of partner, who are the people that you would choose to surround yourself with? And how do they treat you? And what would you do for work if you could do absolutely anything that you wanted? So we're not talking realistic. We're talking about dreams. We're talking about desires. How much money would you make? And how would you spend it on yourself? And when you're making that kind of income, what would you invest it in? Would you invest it in projects or travel or charities or stock? Like, what would you invest yourself in if you knew in your heart you had unlimited resources? And let's talk about how you present yourself. How would you look? How would you feel? And how would your family, friends, neighbors, partners, anyone else you can think of, business and community, be affected by your growth? And this was one of the most pleasant surprises in my healing journey and in my growth journey. As I worked on myself, everyone else around me changed. Some of it was because I had new boundaries and requirements to be in relationship with me, but also it was seeing the progress that I made, seeing that it can be done, seeing that turnaround was absolutely inspiring. So how would their perspective of you change? What kind of changes do you hope to see in others as they watch you grow? How would your income and community and different sort of relationships be affected by your growth? You don't have to write everything, but write like the most profound ones, or the ones that stick out to you, or the ones that first come to you. So which are the top 3 of these things that really got your fire burning? So before we meet again, you want to watch this recording a couple times, do the work. And this is a really short session, but we're going to talk about it in our one-on-one meeting. I used to have these as huge chunks, but now I'm going to have them as smaller, shorter videos so that you can spend half an hour here, half an hour there, because often that's how we get to our free time. So you want to watch different parts and rewatch different parts of the recording that you need some time with, that you want to process with, and you'll also want to be watching our one-on-one sessions. And if you have to choose which one to watch on repeat, watch the one with you a couple times and watch the pre-recorded trainings at least once. Honestly, you could come back to these again and again, and as you grow, they'll hit a little bit different. And when we repeat things, first of all, our brain, anytime that we repeat something, it deems it as important. So if you have ever played video games all afternoon on a Saturday and dreamt about them at night, that's just because your brain saw you repeat the same activity over and over again. It wanted to teach it to you, and it brings it into the subconscious mind in your dreams. So anything we repeat, our brain interprets as important. And often when we are listening to trainings, when we're watching things, our brain will get stuck on like one sentence or one idea, and we'll get carried away for a few minutes and then drift right back into the conversation again. So when you watch it on repeat, you'll often pick up on little things that you had missed before. And this is why repetition is so important. I'm so excited to work with you, and I can't wait to talk about all of this in our one-on-one session.